Let me just say right off the start here, Alex, that we're going to get to the Emmys. We're going to talk about the Emmys, the ratings, Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to get to all that. And I'm just so glad that I have a podcast that I am not regulated by the FCC, because we're allowed on this podcast to say the name of the show that swept the Emmys, my wife's favorite show.
Mine too.
Schitt's Creek.
Poop Creek.
That's so liberating. That feels so fun. Schitt's Creek. The Emmy.
There's a certain creek that you're not allowed to say the name of the show for.
Writing and script writing, screenwriting. Schitt's Creek.
Poop Creek.
Don't you bleep that, Cullinane. Don't you bleep that.
I will not.
Cullinane has a dump button right there in his home office.
Speaking of random shit, do you see that viral video going around yesterday of the woman who was running away from the police because she had to take a shit? So she was getting pulled over. Did you see that?
I saw the tweet. I didn't click on the video. But
you gotta watch it.
Did he let her go? Because, I mean, that's as good a reason as any.
Did not let her go. And there's a great actual news coverage on it with the hottest female anchor I've ever seen in my life in Oklahoma. And it's fantastic. It's actually she reports it in a serious way. Fantastic video.
I'm sure the cops have heard that 1,000 times, and most of the time it's not legit. People are just trying to talk their way out of a ticket. But
police brutality. There you go, right there.
Yeah, the next thing he did, he took out his taser and he tased her, and then he beat her, and then he shot her in the back. And but she's white.
It's more preferable to being forced to hold in. If you have to go, I would think.
No kidding. No, just let it go.
Oh God,
disgusting. All right, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get to the Emmys. We're gonna talk about Schitt's Creek, just because I want to say it, and we're gonna mock Jimmy Kimmel, who is an embarrassment. It was an absolute embarrassment. But before we do that, I just have to offer my thoughts and prayers, my condolences to the Boston Globe. Tough day for the Boston Globe. Not because their favorite Supreme Court justice passed away.
Say that all the time. What makes today tougher than the other ones?
I will tell you, since you asked, I have the story in front of me. This is an AP story, which, by the way, the Globe ran on their website. So that must have been tough. Florida prosecutors said that they won't appeal a court's decision blocking the video that allegedly shows Patriots owner Robert Kraft paying for massage parlor sex, making it likely that charges against Kraft will be dropped. It's over in Jupiter, Florida. And sadly, the Boston Globe, the Pizzutis, they never got a look at Bob Kraft's wiener. That was the goal for months now. Since he got arrested, they wanted to get their hands on that video. They wanted to see Kraft getting a happy ending from another consenting adult. They have been fighting hard for this. It was the goal. I mean, they had two goals in the last couple of years. One is to save the life of poor Joe Karzaniev, who we never fully embraced, and the other was to get their hands on the video of Bob Kraft getting a massage, getting a complete treatment, the entire, the whole deal from this masseuse, this consenting adult. And for a while, it looked like they might get it. We might, see it. Bob Kraft's naked body, 78-year-old naked body, 77. Not going to happen. Kraft wins again. The Red Sox lose again. It's just so disappointing, so sad.
I like the New York Post's headline: Robert Kraft likely to get off in Florida massage parlor case.
Yes.
I was going to say, Alex, don't go too hard at the Globe because they're looking for an overnight sports reporter. So don't go too hard on them. Just tipping you off on that.
I know, that's why I was silent during that. That little tangent.
Yes. Alex is the only gay liberal communist that the Globe doesn't like. He's the only one.
Go ahead.
It's amazing that they have never fully embraced you. They've embraced Zarnia, but not Reimer.
They were actually, during the Brady thing, they actually wrote a couple of semi-favorable columns to me. Joan Vanocchi had a good one, saying that it was Tom's fault about what happened. So I agree.
Tom's fault?
Yes.
What, that he forgave you and let you...
No, that he put his kid on the screen, Who are we really... she said it was performative outrage.
I don't disagree with that, and I feel that way when you see, even if it's, right-wing kids like 7-year-olds in MAGA hats and they get attacked. I mean, do you really want to bring your kid to those kind of events? If you're going to be protesting, I mean, like today, Turtle Boy is having a conservative Black Lives Matter protest in Roxbury. Is he going to bring his 5-year-old? No, because you wouldn't do that. These things tend to get tense. Sometimes they even get violent.
That's right near my hood.
Why bring a child? Well, why don't you go? You and Turtle Boy can march together.
We can.
Defending, I don't know exactly. He's defending conservative Black lives.
Oh, okay.
And defending free speech and defending the cops.
In Roxbury, how many?
Yes.
I don't know if there are many.
Well, that's where the police headquarters are, and they're going to defend
aware.
the cops. I mean, I assume.
I believe it's because that woman Monica Cannon Grant is saying that the Boston police supports a white nationalist, which is Turtle Boy, apparently.
Right.
That's
one thing Turtle Boy does is stand up for himself. He is fearless, and he's going to go there, and there'll probably be an incident. He'll probably get attacked, and then he'll have blogs for a month and photos and video, and we look forward to it. So if you want to support Turtle Boy and maybe Alex, you can show up at what's the location? The police headquarters? Is that where it's actually taking place?
I don't know. I think it's somewhere in that vicinity. Yeah, I don't know.
You can get on TB Daily News, get on his blog, and you can find out. You can join him in Roxbury if you got nothing else to do. On this, is this the first full day of fall? September.
This is the first full day of fall. Did you get your pumpkin spice latte?
Oh no, I hate the creeping fall. I hate the end of summer. Just it bums me out. I don't like the no more. I don't like no more warm days. No more beach. No more shorts and t-shirts. I've never been a fan of the colder weather and the changing leaves and all that. And
autumn man, you get to bring out your sweaters, go apple picking. You probably like apple picking, right, Jay?
And you know what? I honestly could say, Alex, I've done a lot of embarrassing things in my life. I've never gone apple picking. Never. My wife took the kids many, many times when I was watching football.
Yeah,
like a man, and she never made me go. I've never gone apple picking, not once. I swear to God, I've done some silly ass things in my day, but that's not one of them.
How about a corn maze?
I did a maze. I'm not sure it was corn. Is there other kinds of mazes? I did a maze one time at night, but I thought it was just like hedges. I don't know. Why? Have you gone apple picking?
No. I mean, I went once when I was very young. I don't really like it. It's
kind of gay, isn't it?
It is very gay. You get to go and take nice pictures of the apple picking.
I know.
Your fall best.
It is embarrassing when you see guys like tweeting out pictures or Instagramming video of them picking apples. You know what? They sell apples at the store. It's why I don't hunt. I mean, people say you hunt and you kill a deer and you eat it. I say, well, they sell meat at the store. Why do you have to hunt?
No, but it's all part of the experience. You wear your flannel, you get your apple cider donuts, you walk around.
Yeah, so commenters on the
back in the day, I'd do anything to get laid. So apple picking was an easy date choice for a Saturday kind of afternoon drinking. It was a good one. So
I used to go to like theater. Like I went to see Man of La Mancha, which was awful, and I went to see Les Mis, which was awful. But I was courting. I was
Les Mis.
Les Mis, which is terrible. It was like 4 hours long.
Apple picking is too gay for you, but you'd go on dates.
I'm not saying I wouldn't go apple picking if I didn't have to. I just got lucky. Okay, I've never been forced to go apple picking, and it looks like I'm through with that, so I never have to go apple.
Why? It's still a nice date activity. Fortunately for you, you don't have to watch the Patriots every week anymore, so you can go apple picking.
I like watching. I'm glad. I can honestly say I'm enjoying football. Last night I didn't watch the whole game, but the Saints Raiders. These games are going to be better when the fans are back. But football,
I definitely think so.
Football is so much better than basketball and baseball and hockey and even golf. I love golf, but and the U.S. Open was terrific. But it's so good to have football back, and it's so fascinating right now. I know I overused that word, but to watch the competition, not just the Patriots versus whoever, but Newton versus Brady. It's this weekly thread, and right now Newton is winning. And I know both teams are 1-1, but Newton is winning that battle. He's got a much better QB rating. He's much better than I thought he'd be. He was great in Seattle. Great. He was not quite Russell Wilson great, but he was spectacular throwing the ball. Obviously, he can run the ball, but he had great touch. He threw some great deep balls. He fed the ball to Julian Edelman like down the field. Edelman had his career high in yards because he wasn't afraid to go downfield. We never saw that with Brady and Edelman. I mean, obviously they connected. They had great chemistry. But he's getting the best out of Julian Edelman, which I thought they should have traded Edelman because he was so dependent on
pout, be sad.
He was dependent on Brady. So I thought Edelman was going to be overrated in this Patriot offense. Just the opposite. I think Newton's been great, and I look forward to watching this competition as we go forward. And I mean, last night just watching Las Vegas, which was kind of cool, even though there were no fans, against New Orleans, and seeing Drew Brees and against the Raiders in their first game in Vegas. There's always something when you turn on an NFL game, isn't there? This is just always a reason to watch.
But I mean, and I've been liking it too, but the no fans to me really takes away a significant part of the experience. I mean, how much better would that game Sunday night have been if there were actually fans in Seattle? And Cam Newton, wouldn't it be, I mean, obviously, I think this would be one of the great injustices of COVID if Cam Newton never got to play in front of fans at Gillette Stadium.
Well, that's going to change.
So, Jerry?
That's going to change. I feel like things are changing gradually. Like teams every day. There's another team, UMass, yesterday announcing they're going to play. I didn't think
and
that
it's
would
like,
happen.
why are they playing?
I didn't think that was going to happen because it's Massachusetts and we're
and
controlled.
UMass absolutely sucks.
But that's beside the point. You can't. That's not the rationale for not playing. Say the team stinks.
Well, they don't make money either. I don't. Why
so what? These kids are there to play football. They want to play. There's no reason not to. That's the crazy thing. Like the other day, Clemson was killing the Citadel, like 49-0 at halftime. And Dan Shaughnessy tweeted, why are these teams playing? What's the point? Because that's what they do. They're football teams. They go to college to play football. They love it. What's the argument against it? Then no one's getting the virus. It's not killing anybody. There's no risk. We all know by now.
It only killed 200,000 Americans.
It did not. It did not. It killed about 10,000 Americans. And by the way, hold
on.
Yes.
What happened to the other 190,000?
They died of other things.
Oh, okay.
They died with the virus, not from the virus.
So when did you become a total COVID is a hoax guy? Because you weren't always here.
I never said it was a hoax.
You are saying it's a hoax.
No, I'm not.
You're saying it's only killed 10,000.
Do you follow the guys? The guys who really track this stuff, like Alex Berenson and Jordan Schachtel.
I do not follow Alex Berenson. No.
Why not? You learn a lot. So he had the list of deceased. I forget from some hospital yesterday, and they were all 88, 90, 95. One guy had 4 comorbidities. He literally had renal failure, heart disease, cancer, and dementia. He was 88. That man did not die of COVID. I'm sorry, Alex. That man died with COVID. There's a difference.
Could have been placed on the Supreme Court with that kind of health record.
And we're going to get to her. I know you're probably already sick of it, but I don't care. It is one of the great political battles, just fights to the death, literally, that we've ever seen. And Alex and I, it's one thing we agree on is politics is like a sport, and it is going to be fun. I cannot wait. But I want to get to I want to go back to the NFL on this topic because it's related to COVID, the China virus. And you got to help me with this one. The NFL announced yesterday, I believe, that 3 coaches, and that number's going up after last night, but 3 head coaches, Pete Carroll, Kyle Shanahan, Vic Fangio, were being fined $100,000 each. And the teams are being fined $250,000 because they took their masks off. Now, it sounds very selective because I saw lots of coaches take their masks off at one point or another. I guess these guys had it off the most.
Like Sean Payton last night was never wearing his mask.
And by the way, both the coaches from last night are going to get added to that list.
Right.
Gruden talked about it after the game. He knows he's going to get fined. And this is no small fine. I don't care how much. I know Gruden makes, $10 million a year, but $100,000 for pulling your mask off. Now, every coach did it. Belichick did it. He had it on his nose at one point, not on his mouth. He looked ridiculous. But so you could find every coach. I guess this is the warning shot that they have to leave the masks on. But you hear Gruden after the game, Alex? You know what he said? He goes, "I've already had the virus." Now, I don't think people knew that. They knew Peyton had it. So Peyton and Gruden already had the virus. They got through it. They got better. They're not going to get it again. We know that. I mean, we know that. They don't have any reason to wear a mask.
Well,
and yet, except for show, I know what you're going to say. It's a look, and people are going to look at them as examples. And so they get fined $350,000 because a guy who's already had the virus decides not to cover his mouth and nose. What sense does that make?
No, I mean it's performative, but I would also say that even more than that, there's billions of dollars riding on the NFL being able to complete this season without a COVID outbreak. And I know that if Sean Payton isn't wearing a mask, that's not going to result in a COVID outbreak. But if you're the NFL, much like the NBA and how strict they are at this bubble, like, putting guys in quarantine for even getting takeout, they cannot take any chance whatsoever because billions of dollars are at stake, which is why they are extra harsh on all this stuff. They want zero chance of anything happening.
So, but they're going to have to do this every week,
right?
Which I think and that's probably why the fines are so hefty, is that if it was a small fine, if it was 10 grand, then guys like Pete Carroll or John
they would all do it. I mean, the players
wouldn't care,
right.
But I wonder if they're going to catch guys like are they going to find guys if they pull it off just for 1 second or pull it off and have some water? I mean, there's a big gray area here, and you see the coaches surrounded by players, some of them who are hurt and some are just like bench one, and none of the players have masks, so that's okay. But the coaches have to have a mask. It's so arbitrary, like everything else in the China virus era. Everything is arbitrary. Why you can have a mask on as you walk to your table in a restaurant. You can take it off to eat and drink. Then you have to have it on to go to the restroom. Students in school do the same thing. They walk in, they sit down, but they can't take the mask off while they sit down. Particularly, right. I mean, it's crazy because they're not really vulnerable. They're not going to die from the virus. It's no big deal to 19-year-old college kids, but they are the worst mask. And I hate the term mask Nazi. What's the term we came up with? We want to come up with another term.
Mask vigilante? What?
Yeah, mask vigilante or mask, I don't know, Gestapo.
Okay.
The mask Gestapo is most prevalent on college campuses where the virus really doesn't affect people like it does in the rest of the world. They're all young and for the most part healthy, and they're not dying. And yet they are fanatical on college campuses and high schools, by the way, about the masks.
Well, I mean, it's because the thing is, it's if you're in a college class, you're with a bunch of strange people. Like, I would say that I agree. It is, largely arbitrary on its face. Like, what the virus takes a break during dinner. The virus respects dinner, which is very nice of it. But I mean, like, if you're sitting at a table with your family or with some good friends, you've made the choice where you know each other, you know where you've been, you trust each other. But if I'm standing up and I'm walking by strangers, it's just like a sign of respect.
I know that's what I've said.
It. Yeah,
I mean, I do that, and it was what's his name was talking about Kirk Cousins when he got in trouble.
Right, exactly.
About mask. He doesn't believe he's vulnerable. He doesn't believe he's going to die, but he says, "I just do it out of respect because I don't want to upset other people." That's what I do when I go to a store. I went to a Walgreens the other day, and I forgot my mask. And I look in the car, and I don't have one. And I look in the trunk, and I go, damn, I don't even have like a bandana. So I walk in, I go to the cashier.
Did you pull your shirt up?
I'm sorry, I forgot my mask. I'll be quick. And she says, don't worry about it. She didn't care. Yeah, she's like, go ahead.
Wow. Was that in Maine? Must have been.
Don't you think pulling the shirt up, it looks ridiculous? I mean, I could have done that, I suppose.
You could have like just done that. That's what I would have done. Just pull it up like this. What?
But I have the gaiter, although, the thing you go around your neck, that's apparently not as effective as the other kind of masks. And I have my Blue Lives Matter mask, which I'm going to be wearing whenever I go out in public, hopefully upset people like you.
Yeah, I would be.
You would be upset if you saw my Blue Lives Matter mask?
It's just trolling, absolutely. I would never troll.
To respect the cops?
You're not respecting the cops.
You hate that.
You're trolling.
Alex did make a good point before you got on the NFL side, though. For UMass, for them to play football when they make no money and they furloughed, 1,000 people? That's pretty ridiculous.
Why?
Right?
That's the kids.
Like, how much money?
What's the argument? Go. Hold on. Just make the argument against playing. Tell me what the argument is against playing.
Not from a health perspective. From a business perspective, they're going to spend so much money on football this year. They're going to lose money. Meanwhile, there are 1,000 people that were furloughed from.
They're not going to spend that much money or lose that much money. They're already there. The kids, the scholarships they already gave, the equipment is already bought. I mean, they're not going to lose that much money. They should be furloughing thousands of people at UMass. You ever see their payroll? They have thousands of people making $200,000.
Jerry, but that's not who they're furloughing. They're furloughing like dining hall workers and hourly workers.
Okay, then we can agree they should furlough the deputy vice chairman of diversity and
Sure.
inclusion.
The anti-racism board, Boston University, my alma mater, they are charging $20,000 a session to attend these anti-racism sessions.
Oh, Jesus,
that's important work.
I'm telling you, Reimer. I always had respect for BU growing up, and
why?
I've lost it all. I've lost it all because I see AOC, and every time she talks, I say, how the hell do you? I mean, she got a degree in economics.
No, I'm saying, why did you have respect for BU growing up?
I don't know. I never knew anyone who went there. No one from Boston goes to BU. You know that, right?
It's all Jewish kids from.
It's all Jewish kids from New York. Howard Stern and Jason Alexander and AOC, whatever. AOC, that Jewish. Poor girl from
she's from
Westchester. She's a little rich kid who pretends to be a working class kid. Changed her name and pretends to be. And it's working. God bless her.
Oh wow.
God bless her. She's the head of the Democrat Party right now. Do you want to get to impeachment? Because I know you have some thoughts.
Impeachment? Who are we impeaching?
Well, I got that on my list. I'm going to ask you that. Nancy Pelosi and AOC are talking about impeachment.
Oh, right. Bill Barr. Absolutely. Bill Barr is the most.
No, hold on. Start with Trump. They're talking about impeaching Trump again over this. That was my question.
Oh, I mean, there's a million things you could impeach him for. I mean, sure, I would impeach Trump
for picking a Supreme Court justice, for nominating somebody. Can you impeach someone for that?
No. I mean, you can impeach Trump for, as I said last week, mass murder and ignoring the coronavirus. I mean,
mass murder. This is where the
least it's impeachable. But I mean, Bill Barr, sure, impeach Bill Barr. This guy is the most dangerous member of the Trump administration.
He's the greatest. I want him,
including Donald Trump, by the way.
He's like Trump, only smarter. I love him. He's wonderful, and he's pointing out, and he's going to come down hard on the looters and rioters, and we're going to have a new wave. We're going to have many new waves of nude looters and rioters.
Nude looters, yes.
Nude looters. And I love this. This is such a great issue for Donald J. Trump. We said it. I said it for months. We're not through with the big, surprises, the big stories this fall, this campaign season. And this thing comes out, takes all the attention off the China virus, takes the attention off everything, and focuses on the Supreme Court nominee. And I'm hoping he met yesterday. I believe he met yesterday with Amy Coney Barrett, who is the favorite right now. And I like her chances for a couple reasons. She's good looking. That matters a lot to Donald J. Trump. He'll get caught saying this to somebody. Compare his nominee, Amy Coney Barrett,
like Elena Kagan,
with Kagan and Sotomayor, and saying I picked the hotter one. And she's a devout Catholic, which opens the door to this religious litmus test for people who are supporting a devout Catholic, quotation fingers, Joe Biden, who claims to be a devout Catholic. It's comical. He's not, but he claims to be. So you're going to attack Amy Coney Barrett for being a Catholic when you're supporting a nominee for president who claims to be a devout Catholic? Good luck.
You Republicans are so obsessed with your identity politics. I mean, honestly.
But you're right. He said it has to be a woman, or it will be a woman, which I don't know why you have to say that. Just say, here's my list. And he had a list of 20 people, including Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, which I would never want to take Cruz and Hawley out of the Senate. Pick this woman. Let them go after her on the religious grounds. Let her defend herself, and then throw it to a vote. Right now, we don't know which way Romney's going to go. It's all up to. It's not all. Right now, it doesn't matter which way Romney goes, because a 50-50 tie means Mike Pence breaks the tie and she wins, and she's seated, which is likely to happen. But Romney loves the attention. We'll see which way he goes. I hope he votes to confirm. He should. I mean, he's from Utah. I'm going to guess most of the people who voted for Romney will like a religious conservative on the court. So he's going to have to make a decision whether he wants to go with his constituents or go with the New York Times and Andrea Mitchell and Chuck Todd. We'll see which way Romney goes, but it'll be great theater. Speaking of theater, Alex, I'm looking at the countdown right now. 7 days, 12 hours, 33 minutes, 48 seconds till the debate. That's the countdown till the first debate. And I love football. I love watching the majors in golf. Nothing compares to this debate. Am I setting myself up for disappointment?
Yeah, you are. I mean, because you could get. I mean, there is a. I don't know. See, Trump is unpredictable with these things because there is a chance Biden will be boring regardless, right? He'll be entertaining if he, flubs up a line or this and that. There's this chance Trump is teleprompter Trump for the first one, like if certain advisors get in his ear, and then by the second one, he'll like go crazy. But there's a chance he's like he does that sometimes where he comes out, he's like subdued.
Biden has the advantage of the lowest expectations of any candidate for any office going into a debate that I've ever seen. I mean, again, if he comes out and the underwear's on the inside of the pants and not on the outside, people will say, "Isn't he fabulous?"
Oh,
I mean, the media will slobber over him.
Oh, Biden's been good.
If he doesn't, wander off stage and into traffic, they'll say he's amazing.
Oh, stop.
But we'll talk about it. You and I will talk about it honestly. And I think Trump will win the debate. The question is by how much?
I'm done with that story. I mean, Trump can't even string together 5 words in a row. I mean, enough.
Have you seen Biden lately, Alex? He does interviews. He does interviews with a teleprompter. I've never seen anything like it. He did an interview with the guy. It was I think it was a Hispanic guy from whatever, I don't know what, Univision or something. And he was answering the questions, and you could see it reading a teleprompter. Have you ever seen somebody do interviews with a teleprompter?
I'm sure it's been done. And I mean, so what? Who cares? I mean, if Biden's a cardboard, if he's a mouse, that pad that I'm holding in my hand.
Yeah.
I would vote for this over Trump. I would just get someone in there to sign the legislation.
It's not about
here we go.
We know you which way you're going to vote. It's about I don't know how many undecideds, how many.
How could you possibly be undecided?
Well, I'll tell you how, because
that's amazing.
These people
are all lobotomized.
Some people are looking at it and saying, give me a reason to vote for you, Joe Biden, because every day he comes out and he gets worse. Every day, as I've said for months, his condition, his cognitive decline is not going to improve. It's not going to go away. I know Trump believes that he's on drugs, that he's treated with something for his
Which means that Trump is on drugs because Trump just deflects.
No, imagine if Trump were on drugs.
You're a puppet. I'm a puppet. Remember that? That's him.
Right. Well, no, here's what's going to happen. Biden's going to get worse and worse. And the people who are thinking of voting for him are going to be alarmed. And then they're going to say, you know what? I don't love Trump. I don't love his tweets. I don't love the dumb stuff he says, but I feel safer. He tweets law and order. I feel better.
Yeah, do you feel safer up there where you are?
I feel safer not voting for the guy who will not condemn rioters and looters. They're on your side, Alex. They're on your side. Those are all Biden voters who have rioted and looted, have gone to people's houses and made noise in the middle of the night. That rabble are all on your side. That's why
amazing. I live in a city unlike you, and the only people I see outside are.
I live in the same city, Alex. I live in a better neighborhood.
You're living there now.
I'm going there this afternoon. What does that matter?
Oh, you are? Okay, good. Welcome back. Thanks, Jerry. Welcome me back.
There the other day. I'm back and forth. What do you want? What does that matter?
Because I just see al fresco dining whenever I go out. People just sitting, eating.
Now you sound like Juan Williams. Juan Williams on the 5 said it's a myth. There is no violence in the city.
He's absolutely right. There's no violence.
Do you want to look at the crime rates, the murder rate in New York City?
It's substantially lower than it was 2 decades ago.
It's substantially higher than it was 2 months ago.
Well, because we also have an economic depression, a pandemic that's killed 200,000 Americans and counting. There's a lot of reason. I'm surprised there's not more violence, frankly, with our looming eviction crisis, the homelessness crisis that's going to come. The fact that we have a United States Senate that refuses to pass any sort of additional help to Americans, 30 plus million out of work, and yet they're going to ram through Amy Coney Barrett.
Yes, it's weird. There's, when the Supreme Court justice passes away, the president at that moment gets to replace that justice.
Except if you're Barack Obama. I know this is old and tired, but honestly, Jerry, you even have to admit, which is fine, politics, I get that, but this is the height of hypocrisy. You even have to admit that.
I will admit no such thing.
Oh,
I don't know if you're aware of this, but Obama was a Democrat and the Senate was controlled by Republicans.
Please.
Now it's a Republican Senate and a Republican president. That's
a Republican Senate that represents 40% of the American population, a president who lost the popular vote by nearly 3 million. Great democracy
like Bill Clinton did. Was he legitimate or no?
He won the popular vote and the electoral.
But tell me this, Alex. If I say the Republicans are hypocrites because they didn't take a vote for Merrick Garland, which by the way they would have voted against him anyway. So what's the point? Anyway, if they're hypocrites, then what are Democrats who said they have to have a vote for Merrick Garland, but you can't now? They changed the rules completely.
Well, because the Republicans blocked it, and we're just going off the precedent that Mitch McConnell has set.
Can we agree they're both hypocrites?
You more than them. That's for
why.
Sure.
Why?
Because you're not going to vote on a nominee in March of 2016, too close to the election, but in late September of 2020, we are going to ram through a nominee.
What does ram through mean? You put it up for a vote?
The fact that we will have a Supreme Court nominee before we have additional care for the tens of millions who are unemployed.
Okay, can you forget that?
Could I forget the economic depression we have? No, right. I can't forget it. Sorry, it's the biggest. I mean, how?
Just for a second. I want this on the record. People always, and they're going to be texting at us or commenting on the Facebook live screen here. I'm looking at them. They all ask me, "Why do you have Alex on?" I have Alex on because he represents the enemy in my mind, the other side. We're friends. We're friends, but we disagree on everything. I need to know. I need to understand this. It's the most silly ass, childish thing I've ever heard from politicians, from leaders of the Senate, from media people. Do you think the fervent wish of a dying woman should matter in rule of law, in a constitutional issue? Should the dying wish of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the notorious RBG, should that matter?
That she doesn't want to be replaced? Sure, I respect the death.
You do. You think the dying wish, which by the way, I'm with Trump. I don't believe she actually said that. That's not the way. It doesn't sound like something a dying person would say. They would be concerned with their family and the afterlife and whatever.
She's concerned about this country.
Okay, if she's so concerned about this country, Alex, she could have retired at the age of 83 and let Barack Obama pick her successor. And you know what I think Obama would have done? He would have listened to her. Not necessarily done exactly what she wanted, but she could have had some input. She could have retired again at the age of 83. That was 4 years ago, and Obama could have picked her successor. She's a narcissist, obviously. She was too self-centered to do that, to step down. This is the fault of two people, this current problem that you people have. Ruth Bader Ginsburg for not retiring like a normal person and saying, someone else could do this job, someone who thinks like me, and Harry Reid, who got rid of the filibuster. So blame those two icons from your side of the aisle. They're the ones who put you in this predicament.
I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it's a conversation worth having. Should she have stepped down in 2014? I think you can definitely make that case.
She rolled the dice. She thought Hillary was going to be there.
Right. She did. She's on the record, or maybe not on the record, but it's been widely reported that she thought Hillary would win in 2016. Yeah.
Yes. And so did everybody else. But it's funny listening to these people. Chuck Schumer, the Senate minority leader, and Amy Klobuchar, and all these saying he's ignoring the dying wish of an old woman. Of course he's ignoring it.
No, what you have to say is that we have a president who lost the popular vote, a Senate that represents 40% of the population, and it's going to be 6-3 on the Supreme Court. That is not a democracy under any definition of the word. So that is the message. It's not.
It's a constitutional republic. It's a democratic republic. You know that. It's not pure democracy. The mob doesn't rule, thank God. But
only land rules.
You have to
tumbleweeds.
You can take solace in this, that one of these weenie Republicans, probably John Roberts, will go soft. He'll be the next David Souter, and he'll vote with your guys. That's how it works. Your guys, the judges appointed by Democrats, remain hard left liberals like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. On my side, they name these Republicans. They start going to the parties and the lunches in D.C. and Georgetown, and they get swept up, and they start meeting all the media people that they want to please, and they go soft. And that appears to be John Roberts. Only a few guys stay strong, like Clarence Thomas and Antonin Scalia. And hopefully Brett Kavanaugh because they tried to destroy him. Here's why they deserve no consideration. They shouldn't listen to a damn thing Chuck Schumer says or Kamala Harris or any of them, is because what they did to Kavanaugh was the most despicable thing I've ever seen in all my years of watching Washington, politics in Washington. It was scummy, slimy. They lied about him. They knew they were lying about him. They tried to destroy the man in front of his wife and children and parents. It was the lowest point, the lowest of the low. By the way, led by Kamala Harris, who is your next president if you guys prevail.
Oh, is Christine Blasey Ford out of hiding yet? Just have the death threats subsided?
Oh, it depends. Did she put another front door on her house because she's so scared of Kavanaugh? She was used. I mean, she was obviously a troubled woman being used by the forces in Washington.
She was like a very accomplished professor, right? I mean, troubled woman.
Yes. Do you think Julie Swetnick was telling the truth? Michael Avenatti?
She didn't get a hearing in front of the Senate. That
Michael Avenatti was telling the truth?
MSNBC thing. That was not something pushed by the United States Senate. And I don't even
sure
think that got into a lot of
accused of being a gang rapist.
When did Julie Swetnick testify in front of the Senate?
The senators ran with those accusations, the Avenatti accusations.
I don't think they did.
And by the way, they read his high school yearbook and they attacked him because he wrote a note there about farts. About farts.
Shots. Yeah, he farted the shots or something. Yeah.
Boofs. That was that Sheldon Whitehouse, that creep from Rhode Island.
I like him, actually.
Oh, he's the worst. He's the worst. I got some private messages about Sheldon Whitehouse, people that know him personally, and they just said he is the freaking worst. He is slimy, scummy, talking about farts at a Senate hearing.
What did messages say? Let's go. Let's make some news.
Said he's the worst. He's the worst the worst of the worst. But I can't take any more people saying the dying wish somehow matters. It trumps the Constitution. The dying wish of an old woman, please. And by the way, they're going to put her on glass and put her on public display. She was a judge. She was a Supreme Court justice. Why do we do that with people? Why do we elevate them, especially at a time where normal people aren't allowed to say goodbye to their grandparents or their parents? They're not allowed to have a funeral. They're not allowed to have a wake because of COVID. And yet we're going to put this woman on display for people to come and wail and weep over her. I asked this question yesterday. I asked it on Twitter of Tom Brady. Can you name, Alex, I know you love Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Can you name something she did, something she wrote, something she said that made an impression on you that you'll remember forever, that makes you love her? Name one thing.
It was well before I was born, but I mean, throughout the 1970s, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, much like Thurgood Marshall, as I learned this weekend, I didn't know a lot about this. I mean, she really played the role in carving out anti-sex discrimination laws. I mean, she 70s.
She wasn't even on the court in the 70s.
But she was a prosecutor. She took she wasn't a prosecutor. She was an attorney, and she took case after case to the Supreme Court, chiseling away at sexual discrimination laws. And I mean, she was a giant. How do you not know that? You didn't do any reading about Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I read everything, and so you got nothing. That's just generalities.
What do you mean?
Generalities. Give me one example.
Okay, well, let me look up one specific case. I'm not.
You can't. In other words,
I told you that she, throughout the 1970s, much like Thurgood Marshall with civil rights, played a huge role in carving out sex discrimination laws in this country. And actually, the cases she would carved out laws. And actually, the its cases that she would produce, very interestingly, would put the man as the one who was getting the wrong end of the stick because she had one where a husband was widowed. Right? His wife died during childbirth, and he was not entitled to collect her Social Security due to arcane laws. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg presented that to the court, says, isn't it unfair that these two sexes are not treated equally? They said yes, and as a result, we had a landmark ruling. So I'll look up the exact ruling, but I mean,
and that's something you'll remember forever. That's why you.
Are you
going to go? If you were in DC, would you go look at her body under glass there and pay homage to her corpse?
I would not.
No, me either. I find that kind of creepy. I find that kind of, I don't know, feels third world-ish or feels Soviet Union-ish. Like, go look at a dead person under glass that you don't know, you never met, and they lie in state, and you go like, what, just kneel down and say a prayer? I don't think I don't think that's what she would want. Isn't she
Oh,
more?
and
of a
also the Virginia Military Institute, right there, VMI. She had the case there where they finally admitted women to the VMI, Virginia Military Institute. So that's a big case, Jerry.
Wow, that affected your life a lot. The Virginia
I'm
Military
just saying.
Institute
Look, Jerry. Look. We can make
accepted
fun.
women.
I've always wanted to be a woman to go in the military. Yes, it's had a huge impact on me. But look, we can make fun of the notorious RBG and like the liberal fawning over her. I agree. It's silly.
She's a rock star. Haven't you heard Alex? She's a rock star.
Later in life, she became a rock star. I understand, but I mean, that's even Trump was more magnanimous than you are, Jerry. She was an amazing woman. She lived an amazing life. I'm just talking
about the issues.
What a life.
From all accounts, she seemed like a terrific person. Antonin Scalia was genuinely friends with her. You know, all their clerks. And I don't believe she had a lot of African-American clerks. But anyway, all her clerks speak highly of her. Antonin Scalia's kids say that she was a great friend. She must have been a good person at heart. I just don't see the what makes her superhuman. I don't see what makes her any different than Scalia or Clarence Thomas.
She was coming up through a time where, Supreme justices wouldn't even take women as clerks.
Well, what was Sandra Day O'Connor's dying wish?
I don't know, Jerry. She died a very long time ago, like in 2005, right? Ruth Bader, one of her professors threatened to never send another student to this judge again if he did not take Ruth Bader as
what was
his
Scalia's dying wish? I
don't. He wasn't he suffocated with pillows or something? We don't really know what happened with him
at the hunting farm there.
Right.
Lodge.
That was, but she,
you know what his dying wish was? Get off me! Get that pillow off my face.
That's true.
Didn't grant it, but we'll see. It's going to be wild. You got to admit that it just gets crazier by the day. We are living in really interesting times, Reimer.
To say the least, yes.
It's and he's going to name the end of this week. He's going to wait till after the services, which I guess is magnanimous, as you point out, for Trump. And then he's going to name Amy Coney Barrett. I hope there's a couple other women on his short list, but the Hispanic woman from Florida was involved in the Epstein plea deal, which I don't want to hear a word about. Another word about Epstein, except I'd love to see the flight logs.
Why don't you want to hear about Epstein? What do you mean? I love that story.
Aren't you getting a little sick of it? I mean, don't you want? I guess.
No.
I guess if you want to go badly.
I want total depravity. Are you kidding me? I mean, the Epstein story is one of the most interesting story ever, and it only gets more interesting because we'll never really know exactly what happened, who exactly was involved. There's still so much to uncover.
Well, today we found out that Prince Andrew is the best lover of all time in the New York.
And he's into redheads.
So yes.
But I think Coney Barrett will be the toughest for you guys to attack, which is why he's probably going to pick her. I mean, it has to be a woman, and a wife, a Catholic with 7 kids, 2 adopted kids from Haiti, including one with special needs. It's going to be tough to attack the character of that woman. I mean, you'll try. Your side will try, and they'll make her seem like she's in a cult because she goes to church and she, believes in God. That again is going to be tough when your candidate claims to be a devout Catholic. Barbara Lagoa, from Florida.
You've always been a big fan of her. You mentioned.
I'm sure she's amazing. She's not as hot as Barrett, so Trump will probably not pick her. But and they would attack her for agreeing to the plea deal, which allowed Jeffrey Epstein to do 1 year and go home. Go to the office during the day and work, and then he went back to the minimum security prison at night to go to sleep. She signed off on that deal, which would not. I don't want that. I don't want that as part of this hearing. So go with Coney Barrett. I look forward to it. But anyway, I want to get to a couple other things, Reimer. The Emmys. I know you're a big Emmys guy.
Love it. Yeah.
I know we started off talking about that show, Bleeps Creek.
Yep.
Which
can't say
I've never watched, but my wife loves it and watches it like religiously.
Great show.
Is it?
Yeah, me and your wife should get together and have like a
because there's gay guys in it, right? Who are really funny.
Yeah, David's great.
That's true. The texter points out. I was going to say Sandra Day O'Connor's still alive, but maybe she's going to have a wish Maybe she'll die soon, and her wish, we're going to have to grant it because she's more of a historic figure than Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's the first
They're
woman.
like the same. Oh, come on. They're 1 and 2.
Why? She was first.
They came up
Who
through
was
the
who
same
was the
time.
second guy? Who was the second guy on the moon, Alex?
I have no idea. I hate space like you.
Who was the first guy? You know that, right?
Armstrong.
Right. Good.
Neil
Lance
Armstrong.
Lance
Lance
Armstrong. Was the
Armstrong.
first.
Yeah, you're right.
but the Emmys, which I didn't watch, I probably would have checked it out, but it was opposite football and golf, the U.S. Open, which I was kind of watching on delay, and it was opposite the Patriots. So I didn't spend 1 second watching the Emmys. Did you? Did you watch it at all? Did you flip over?
I did not flip over. No, I did not want to hate watch Jimmy Kimmel. I was watching football like a man.
Right. Good. We all were. You
Yeah.
Did you? Oh no, Culinary doesn't stay up that late. Did you watch?
Although what's interesting is I saw the ratings on Twitter. The Sunday night game, Patriots Seahawks, did worse than the opener last.
Which amazed me. Way down.
Way down.
I mean, I'm not one of these guys who's boycotting, but they're out there, and they're. I want to
Boston.
No, I mean around the country. I didn't see.
No. I'm talking the local ratings. I think maybe. Did you see this, Dave? Where
down from the opening, the Dolphins game
in New England? Yeah,
oh Jesus.
Patriots Dolphins drew like a 29 or something, and then Seahawks Patriots drew like a 22. And the share never surpassed, I don't know, 60 or something, which never. Yeah.
Nationally, what's the number? That was down like 27% nationally from week 1. The numbers are down. They're going to be good, and we know that it's the best property that the networks have is football because people actually watch it live. They actually watch commercials, which they don't do with sitcoms or movies or anything else anymore. But
there was a report yesterday that Fox is paying $1 billion and they're going to up it to $2 billion next year, which is
crazy,
insane.
But Fox is telling me that nobody's watching the NFL.
Right. I saw people, maybe it was you, tweeting and saying, I thought no one is Fox News, and not just Fox News. There's lots of people who are tweeting about the numbers being down, and they are, and it is politics. It's just not a huge decline. It's not going to ruin the sport. And eventually people will come back. But there are people who are, I've met them. Have you met them? I mean, maybe you don't know anyone who's saying, screw them. I don't want to watch. I'm sick of the politics. I'm sick of the kneeling in the Black Lives Matter. And they say, screw it. I'm not going to watch. I'm not one of those people. Sunday night was a great game. It was a phenomenal game. It was a great, comeback. And I could not believe how good Cam Newton looked. You're right. If that were a full stadium and they had the 12, it might have been different. But the Patriots took advantage of it and almost pulled it off, which was remarkable. But those numbers are down. The Emmys are people aren't flipping over to the Emmys in place of football or sports in general. The Emmys had the all-time low rating. Now, obviously, Jimmy Kimmel sucks. Twitter and the woke mob have ruined a number of people. We know people who have been affected by it. They will not say anything. We know people on sports talk radio who are playing scared every day that they'll be the next person the mob comes after. You know what it's like, Alex. You've been in the fire.
Yes.
Jimmy Kimmel
firing squad.
Jimmy Kimmel used to be raunchy and funny and edgy, and now he's turned into Ryan Seacrest. He said he's not funny, he's not edgy, he's not dangerous, he's pathetic. And I understand why. He's making a fortune. He's, lives in LA and all these people are his friends, and he does not want to be the bad guy. Doesn't want to be.
Boat, right?
He does. No, absolutely. And, they bring back things he did in his past, like dress in blackface and use the N-word and, do all the crazy things they did on the Man Show.
They're not good things to do.
But he doesn't want to get canceled totally. He doesn't want to be, Michael Richards and never be heard from again. So he will literally, this was literally.
Well, Michael Richards, a bit of a difference between his outburst and what Jimmy Kimmel did in a scripted show. But
that he knows there's a lot more out there because he was on the Man Show for years. He was on the radio. He was kind of dangerous. He and Adam Carolla, and he doesn't want to be that guy anymore. It's just like Howard Stern. He wants to erase the past. Howard Stern's saying he never used the N-word, And 2 minutes later, someone brings out a video or an audio of him using the N-word. He used it all the time. I used to listen in amazement. He was on FM radio. He was on BCN. And I'd put it on. He'd just be saying the N-word and the F word, the gay slur, all the time. And he wants to pretend that person doesn't exist anymore. Jimmy Kimmel's the same way. Jimmy Kimmel is, a big, I guess he's on leave or whatever he's on because he got caught in blackface and decided to take a hiatus for the summer. But last year, the Emmys had a record low with 6.9 million viewers. This year's telecast is down 14% from that to 5.1 million viewers, an all-time low by far. And Kimmel hosted.
But in fairness,
it was political. It got very political.
No, but in fairness, you could have put an uncensored Dave Chappelle, and it would have been the lowest rated Emmys of all time this year.
Why? Now, why do you say that though? Because more people are home than ever.
Because it's already trending downward, as you talked about last year's numbers, and then this year it's just people's heads aren't in this shit. It's the same thing.
That's no explanation. People's heads aren't in it.
It's sports. There's no way ratings are down because of the political and social.
It is. I mean, again, it's not.
That answer. Bullshit.
It's not the end. It's not destroying the product. The NFL people are still watching. It's still making money. But if you take away, that's 14%. That's whatever. 14 out of 100. 7 out of 50 people say screw this. Particularly with the Emmys, because they know it's going to be all this woke shit.
Do they have meters though? How do we know?
You're the media critic. You tell me. They have overnights and they have exact numbers. 5.11 million viewers. Tucker Carlson on an average night has almost as many viewers as the Emmys, and he's on cable, and he's half the country hates him. It's remarkable how far the Emmys have fallen. Those used
I think that would prove Dave's point, though. I mean, because Maddow and MSNBC have had great numbers continuing through this as well. I mean, I think that people's heads just aren't. It seems silly, as we've said before.
Correct. Not into sports. They're into news. They're into.
Although the one thing I would say though, Dave, is all these Tiger King was the biggest hit ever at the start of this pandemic in March. Nothing's a stupider show than that. So how come these streaming shows are so popular, but yet the network stuff falls?
No, I'm going to explain to you.
I don't know.
And you tell me that the average Emmy viewer, someone that watches TV and likes, Schitt's Creek or likes whatever, Ozark, and they might feel like, oh, I got to watch the Emmys. There's people like that who, got to watch the Oscars, the Emmys. Let's play this Kimmel exchange with Anthony Anderson, my co-star, and me, myself, and Irene. We've worked together. I've worked with Anthony.
Right?
Yes, I was in the same scene with Anthony Anderson. He was a very cool guy. I got to give it to him. He was nice to everybody. I was with him for 12 hours shooting this couple of scenes up in Vermont. But he's all in on Black Lives Matter. He's all in on, let's make everything about race. And he humiliated Jimmy Kimmel on TV. This is not live, is it? The Emmys is that live TV or is this recorded?
I think it was live. I could be wrong. I'm guessing, but I had a feeling
on live TV. Yeah. Anthony Anderson took down Jimmy Kimmel's pants and emasculated him.
I'm still rooting for everybody black because black stories, black performances, and Black Lives Matter. Say it with me, Jimmy. Black Lives Matter. Louder, Jimmy. Black Lives Matter. Louder, Jimmy. Say it so that Mike Pence can hear it. Black Lives Matter. That's right. And because Black Lives Matter, black people will stay at home tonight to be safe, which is fine because guess what? Y'all don't know how to light us anyway. No. Jimmy, I'm glad I got that off my chest. I am too. I am.
Good chemistry between those two. Just
I'm sorry. That is why. Right there is why the ratings suck. Right? There's nobody. I mean, I realize that maybe there's some angry, BLM supporter out there says, "Good, make him."
Yeah, that was good.
Like a dog.
Right. Yeah.
But the average TV viewer, like my wife who loves Schitt's Creek, would be watching that, going, "I don't want to watch this. Listen to these a-holes." That is why the ratings are down. And
Your
they're gonna
wife
keep
talks
falling.
like that? No, she doesn't. Don't do
No,
that
she
to me.
does. She definitely doesn't. But she would never. I mean, she wouldn't find that entertaining. That isn't funny. That's embarrassing.
I told you the chemistry is off the charts between those two comedians up there. Like, they're really funny guys. Like,
yeah, where I mean, is that because there's no laugh track? Why does that seem particularly unfunny?
It's morose.
What is it? Morose?
It seems it. Just like that was very like.
And is Kimmel embarrassed when he's done with that scene? Does he feel like it worked? It clicked? This is a comedian,
No.
a comedy show host, allegedly, an edgy guy, a funny guy, and he's up there getting embarrassed, saying, "Louder, Jimmy, louder." It's like these BLM activists or rioters who make people raise their fists in restaurants and say,
"Yeah, good thing he wasn't
matter.
eating brunch as Anthony Anderson was talking to him." Right?
That is uncomfortable, and congratulations to the whole cast of Schitt's Creek, because
it's a funny show. I don't know if you would like it, Jerry. Women and gays like Schitt's Creek.
My wife loves it, and she says, "Not for you, not for you."
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen it, Dave?
I've seen a couple episodes. I didn't love it, but my wife actually wants to restart it. Just based
that son of Eugene Levy,
yeah,
whatever.
Right.
His son was very political. Right, he's the gay guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was very political. So were a bunch of other winners. They didn't. If they were told to stay away from politics, they disobeyed.
Oh my god!
And they made it a very political show, and it bombed, which is a wonderful thing.
Here's my last take on the ratings of Emmys, and I formulated this the last 5 minutes here.
Good.
Is I think that people only go to traditional television to watch sports and news, and the Emmys is an indicator of this, because Schitt's Creek, Netflix show, all the other shows nominated, cable television stations, Hulu, like shit like that. Nobody goes really and gives a shit about network shows anymore. Stuff. Like
How did I know? But awards shows used to be, appointment viewing. It was like, oh, I didn't see that show, but maybe I'll check it out. When is Ozark back? I'm so into Ozark. I can't wait for it to come back. We binged on it in the spring during the lockdown, and that's the only show I care about now. My other shows, like Ray Donovan's been canceled, which sucks. I cannot believe Mickey Donovan is gone. But I'm just going to wait for Ozark to come back. And until then, I'm going to watch rioting, looting, debating.
But if more people though are home than ever,
Impeachment.
right? Like on a Sunday night, right? So more people are home than ever.
No one's going to the movies. There's
Right.
there's no theater. There's no concerts.
So they're not watching the Emmys. They're not watching Sunday Night Football as much as last year. So what are they doing?
They're watching Tucker.
On Sunday night?
No, they're not watching. Well, that's whatever that is. Mark Levin, and I don't know. It's a good question. I felt like this Sunday night they should have had like a big special Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing, because it's such a wild, polarizing story. I don't know. Maybe they're I don't know. They're reading Forbes.com.
They should be. They need the hits.
Before we get to that in your latest, we got to talk about Jason Whitlock, who just writes who writes columns that are must read. And there used to be a bunch of guys that I felt were must read. Like Twitter's ruined the whole daily column ritual, where there'd be guys and I'd be like, what does he have to say about that story, that issue? Whitlock, if you're not following him, he writes for Outkick. He's with Clay Travis now, and he writes like almost every day, and they're just must read. Yesterday, he wrote a wonderfully vicious takedown of Katie Nolan, and I initially didn't really care about Katie Nolan, but it's worth reading anyway because it's revealing. He says Katie Nolan makes over $1 million a year, and she can't do live TV. He said everything she does is taped. What did he say? It takes her all day to do a 22-minute show that's on tape, that's recorded. And he goes through
not all day. It takes them all week.
All week, I'm sorry, to do a 22-minute show.
That was her old show, Garbage Time.
Garbage Time, yes.
But he goes through the various articles, like the websites and magazines and GQ and Awful Announcing, who've written these glowing tributes to Katie Nolan, and he points out that she's a product of privilege, and she is. I mean, she's been elevated in the business because I don't know, she's a cute female, and certain people really want to see her succeed. And he rips everybody, Stephen A. Smith and Dan Le Batard and other people at ESPN who have helped in her ascension, and how it's just not, it wasn't earned, it's just not justified. But you got to read it anyway.
I've read it.
I'm just telling our listeners.
Okay.
I'm telling our listeners, you got to read it. Anyway, Twitter, and we talk a lot about big tech censorship and big tech being out of control in this election season, this political season, and they keep taking followers away from me. I go down every day, and I'd love to. And I have people.
I think it's because you're tweeting too often, Jerry. You used to tweet like a couple times a day. Now you tweet a couple
Well, I
times
don't know, but I don't know if you're aware of this. I got a podcast to promote, okay, and I don't have a lot of ways to do it, but every day I see people follow me who I thought were already following me. So they're like dropping them from my list of followers.
Who? Like who's refollowed you? You're like, oh, I thought they already were.
People I like Lou Merlone one day. I go, what the hell? He wasn't following me? He was, but they dropped them.
Did he tell you that he was dropped?
No, I don't talk to anybody about it. I do,
You should message Lou and say what?
Well, then what? I don't want to get caught up in it because it'll drive me nuts. Big tech censorship is the most frustrating thing in the world. These people, and Clay Travis writes about this today. They have this special exemption. They're not considered publishers, right? They can't be sued. They have this carve out from Congress. They have these benefits from Congress, which are sickening from Republicans and Democrats, because they get so much money from Google and Twitter and YouTube and everyone else. They have this power to censor, the president of the United States. But anyway, they tag Jason Whitlock's column with a warning or a label. They call it sexist. Now this drives me nuts, and we used to talk about this on the radio all the time. It's not sexist. It's the opposite of sexist. Sexist is if you say, I can't attack Katie Nolan like I would attack a guy because she's a female. That's sexist. What Whitlock did is the opposite. He attacked her, and it was like I said, wonderfully vicious. He doesn't like her. He thinks she hasn't earned her place. That's the way he would treat a guy. He treats her the same way. He's the opposite of sexist. And Twitter, these big tech, these big tech control freaks decide to label it and obviously hurt the. It doesn't help to be labeled sexist or racist or homophobic or whatever. So some guy in some office in Silicon Valley says, I don't like this column. I'm going to put a label on it. And there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's a monopoly in many ways. We've talked about this with Turtle Boy. I mean, Google's a monopoly. They have government carve-outs, government benefits that allow them to control everything. That to me is just as much as a government entity doing it.
It's amazing. I have more followers now than you on Twitter. I just looked.
I lost that many.
Take off the Shea Concrete hat and put on your tinfoil hat. You sound insane right now.
What did I say that's wrong?
About that they're censoring you? I mean, I don't think you're on Twitter's radar, Jerry. No offense. And I love you, but I don't think you're on Twitter.
Okay, trust me, Alex. When I see I'm getting new followers every day and my numbers are going down, how is that
you're
possible?
tweeting too much. People are sick of it.
No, just the opposite. And I follow lots of right wingers. You ever see what they do to James Woods and Coulter?
James
James
Woods is not a real person. He's a robot.
You don't think he exists? All these right wingers talk about how they're losing followers every day.
Oh my goodness! Only we could all. Poor Ann Coulter has no platform. I mean, what a terrible thing.
So you're in favor of big tech censorship?
I hate big tech, and I hate Facebook the most. It's curious how you don't mention Facebook in your diatribes.
It's because I'm not a Facebook guy. Dave is. He handles Facebook.
I know. Jerry Callahan show is huge on Facebook.
I know, and I leave that to Cullinan. He's more.
Yeah, we're actually no longer live streaming the show on Twitter because they annoyed me. So we are we're on YouTube too, but we're basically exclusive.
Yeah, what happened? People actually have DM'd me asking what happened to the Twitter live stream.
The service I use just keeps disconnecting, and I used Jerry's account and it annoyed the hell out of me. So I said, screw him. So he pissed me off, and you're goodbye. I'm sorry. Shit. It's not a big deal. Yeah.
I can't believe you, Alex, are not upset about big tech censorship.
I hate big tech, but they're not censoring conservatives. They're actually amplifying conservatives.
I just told you what they did to Whitlock. I told you exactly what
Whitlock.
They did.
What did they do to Whitlock? His column was like all over Twitter yesterday. What are you talking about?
Right, and it's labeled sexist when it's just the opposite.
I don't think I think in the Twitter news feed, right, Dave, they're like sexist column. And I think it was the sexist column from the standpoint that he's talking about our looks, bartending background. Did you read his Maria Taylor column? That was creepy. That
what's up? So which is it? He loves Maria Taylor. He wrote a glowing tribute to Maria Taylor.
He wrote
Which
a
one
weird.
is sexist?
It was a weird. I think the Maria Taylor one was way more sexist than the Katie Nolan one. Nolan was a takedown.
See, you're the problem.
No, the Maria Taylor thing, Jerry, that was weird. He was like giving her advice. He called her the unicorn. Like, that's weird.
She's one of a kind.
That's weird. It was a weird column.
What happens if he writes a critical column of an African American or whoever of Stephen A. Smith, and they label it racist? Is that okay with you?
My question is, I mean, how could anybody have such a strong opinion on Maria Taylor? Like, I've never really watched.
I don't know, but I appreciate it. What he did to Katie Nolan used to happen a lot more often. People are, like I said, playing scared. They're afraid of being labeled sexist or being labeled whatever, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever. So they back off. They are afraid to say Schitt's Creek because they're so scared. Now, Whitlock is fearless, which is why he's a must-read. And that column was great. Yeah, that column was great. And I don't even dislike Katie Nolan. I just appreciate occasionally a really wonderfully vicious takedown, and that's what it was. It wasn't sexist at all. But anyway.
I mean, Whitlock had a good line in that. I mean, Katie Nolan did call Greg Hardy a despicable human being.
Whoa, now that's brave.
She did say that.
Brave.
Yes,
that's brave. She took on Greg Hardy. Let me guess. She also took on Ray Rice.
She did actually. Yes, the NFL. I mean, she was calling the NFL out years ago.
You know who else she took on? Aaron Hernandez. Said he was a bad guy.
No, sympathy for
That's
Aaron
brave.
Hernandez.
That is really,
no.
brave.
It's Jerry, sympathy for Aaron Hernandez. He was a troubled soul.
You know what else? She hates Trump, I bet. That is brave. Ooh, man, you're in the sports media. You work at ESPN, and you hate Donald Trump. That is gutsy. That's like like Jamel Hill or Dan Le Batard. I mean, that takes real balls. Is Jamel Hill get another job yet? Every time I turn around, she got another job. She's
good. She's very high.
I started listening to her podcast with Kerry Washington yesterday. Yes, I did, but nothing too exciting came out of it.
Isn't it about The Wire?
No, she's got a new one. She's not a new. No, not a new one. She has her original Spotify exclusive, which is like Jamel Unfiltered or something like that. I don't know.
Oh God,
Big Show Unfiltered. There you go. She's copying the Big O.
There's no such thing as Unfiltered on the radio anymore. Those days are over.
Jamel's gonna awkwardly syndicate her show on satellite radio or something.
And on WGB, the New Hampshire station, WGAM.
Liberals just keep getting jobs.
We're on 1400
Conservatives get podcasts. They get canceled and they get podcasts, and liberals just get more jobs than they can handle, even though they get no ratings.
Not this one. How come I don't get the jobs? Give me jobs.
What else? What do you got going on? What have you written that you want that you'd like me to read?
I'm going to write something today that I would like you to read, Jerry. I'm going to write maybe about the masks, how I approve of the NFL with their mask fines.
Okay, well, you're going to have to address why Sean Payton and John Gruden have to wear masks when they've already had the virus. They've made it through. They're not going to get it again. Why do they have to wear a mask?
Because it's
a good look.
It's a good look. Belichick looked really good in his mask.
So do you get fined if the mask doesn't actually cover your mouth? Because his was on his nose. He looked like Malcolm McDowell in Clockwork Orange. But these fines are huge. They're obviously designed to be a deterrent. You could definitely. I guess I would find it ridiculous that you're going to get fined $350,000 for pulling your mask down. But you're a mask guy. You love the fact that the mask Gestapo's out there keeping.
I don't like it at all. But
control of all of us. I
don't like it. But if the choice is wear a mask or have no society whatsoever, I would go out in a mask 10 times.
No society. But so you believe what Biden said, that 200 million people have died from coronavirus?
At least, yeah.
Mass murder, says Alex Reimer. Here's where you get people.
True.
Here's don't.
Show me the lie. The only person who's lied is Trump during this.
Oh, right. 200 million people have died. Gotcha. Anyway, that's Alex Reimer. You can read him on Forbes.com and hear him on Outsports.com. Is that we can go to?
Do you know what I'm doing on my podcast for Outsports this week? I'm interviewing. Did you read about the transgender anarchist who's running for sheriff in New Hampshire?
Yes, in New Hampshire as a Republican.
And I'm interviewing her on my podcast this week.
And her campaign slogan is "F the police."
Yes, I'm interviewing her so that's something to look forward to.
That's a real viable candidate, strong candidate, Alex.
Oh, you're not interested in hearing from her?
I guess, and I don't think she's a legit candidate, but hey,
Oh, you don't?
you two kids will have fun. That'll be, you can listen or find that at Outsports. Is that where they can go to listen to Alex interview the
Yes.
lunatic transgender
Republican.
police hater lunatic? Yeah, go there and listen to Alex. And what's her name? His name? Her name?
I need to Aria something. Hold on.
Okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Alex, we'll be listening, pal.
Oh,
Thanks.
let's see. Aria DeMezzo.
Aria DeMezzo. Okay.
Yes.
Think we should get her on this podcast, Colleen?
That
She
could be
would
a
do
good
it.
interview. That could be.
I
electric.
emailed her. She got right back to me. She would do it. Yeah.
What about a crossover episode between the Jerry Callahan show and the Sports Kiki? Maybe
What do you call it?
that's the
Kiki?
play.
Kiki? Sports Kiki?
The
Yep.
Sports Kiki.
Yeah. Sports
What
party.
does she got to do with sports? You're going to talk
Nothing.
about transgender track stars in Connecticut?
I will get her take on that. But no, I mean, I seldom do sports on that one. It's just, I don't know. It's a podcast. We have fun. We kiki.
Fun. I like fun.
Yeah, that's me. I'm always having fun. You know that.
You
By the
are.
way, Jerry, good golf television this afternoon. Did you see this? Tiger and Justin Thomas versus Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose. 3 o'clock.
No, I didn't see that. That's for charity. What's
Yeah,
that?
well, it's to promote Tiger's new golf course named after Payne Stewart.
Oh.
A nice little, so I hope they're all mic'd up. That could be a fun watch. So.
That's true. That was a good one.
Yes.
It was better when you had Brady shanking it and sculling it all over the course. But when are they going to do another one of those? That was a good one, Brady and Manning, because you get to see Brady really, really struggle. And we were supposed to get Michael Jordan, I believe, or someone else in the next big money match. Those would fill the time. I'd watch that.
This is a good idea, though. This should stay around. Like, they play so many rounds leading up to their Thursday or whatever practice rounds. Broadcast that shit. Play skins matches or
Right.
whatever. Like,
I always thought that. Right.
Yeah.
Mic them up for the practice round. Give them some money if that's what it takes.
Pro-ams. Like,
I
all
tell you
the-
what, the big star now is DeChambeau, and not only because he's weird and he's big and he's kind of telegenic, but lots of people hate him. He's slow and he's methodical. He's annoying. He is very polarizing. Lots of people don't like him. So he's going to be like the next Patrick Reed, where people tune in to root against him. Some people root for him, other people root against him, but that's what you need. He's a good, a good divisive figure in golf, and he'll be favored. He'll be favored to win the Masters. The next 2 majors are both Masters. They're both at Augusta, and he'll be favored to win them both because he hits it so freaking far, and he's just so big and strong and scary. But anyway, all right, Reimer, thanks, man. We will talk to you again next week.
Talk to you then, Jerry.
Don't forget, if you'd like to join, Reimer at the big rally at the Boston Police Headquarters at 1:00 today in Roxbury, Boston Police Headquarters. Turtle Boy will be there with the Turtle Riders protesting for conservative Black lives. It's a very important issue, and they're fighting for free speech and conservative Black lives. And there may be violence. I'm just going to say it. Turtle Boy's prepared. He's got his people. We'll see what happens. We'll
would
talk
not
about
shock
that
me if
afterwards.
Turtle Boy gets the shit kicked out of him today. Would not.
No,
shock
we don't
me.
want that. We don't want.
We don't
that.
want it, but it wouldn't shock her. All right.
But if he does, let's hope he's got the video rolling.
Yes.
Maybe he'll make national news. But anyway, thanks Reimer, and thanks Cullinane. Thanks to DCU and to Shea Concrete and to Allied Paving and to all our sponsors and supporters. We appreciate it. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Podcast, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.
And we